But let's take a look at our map bans here to see which one we're going to be playing on. As usual, 7 maps in our pool here, one after the other. They're going to be banned. There's no pre-bans that we had in the first half of the season. These are changes will likely live on for later. Villa will be banned by force. Not really too surprising, as they'll go to Kafe against Navi. A map that requires a lot of technical knowledge, much like, you know, Clubhouse, which is a map we also see quite a bit in general in EU in every region, but also force playing it quite a few times. I think they're going to be very comfortable playing this, more so than even Villa, because it just lends itself better to what I think is more of a force gameplay style, where they shut down your rotations, they clamp you down on site, and they plan if they need to, but they're probably going to kill you and massacre you before you can even blink an eye. So this sits actually very well for force.
I'd be happy if I was forced. Speaking of Clubhouse, it was the very first ban from Navi, as you can see on your screen right there, and that was, of course, because that was the map that they played on in Playday number 1. These matchups are a rematch of Playday number 1, so if you want your historical context, go and look at them from there. We have the community vote right now, with how Navi has been surging as of late in comparison to the way that they were before and being a fan favorite versus the very passionate CIS fan base. I expected this to be close, but it's not actually as close as you'd imagine. Navi take it 60% to 34. That is a bit more lopsided given the way that force has been playing this half, and I'm a little taken aback by that.
I completely agree with you. I'm pretty sure that, you know, all the, and I hate to say this, you know how much I hate to say this word, but the hashtag UK Massive people, you know, definitely pushing towards Navi. I'm sure that since so many people want Team Secret to be in Pro League, that they're all just pushing Navi in their stead until we see Secret in it. By the way, Team Secret are playing in Challenger League, so make sure you watch them alongside many other teams, 7 others that are playing to qualify. 2 of them will just automatically be entered into Pro League for next season. So make sure you watch Challenger League in every region, but more specifically, and in EU where you can watch them, and EU specifically on Fridays. So there's that done and said. Here's Thatcher. First operator ban. Color me surprised. Capitalis II. Man, this is just mind-boggling right now. Are we going to have a Mira and an Echo band as well? Because today, I'm feeling lucky, Parker.
Wow. Pretty standard stuff from these bans here. Though it is kind of strange to see Kafe without one of the hard breachers being banned. Thatcher has become a much larger staple when it comes to how these teams ban on this map, because, you know, a lot of times we'd see, oh, maybe a Capital would get banned. Oh, maybe we'd say Hibana get banned. We'd move on from there. But Thatcher being taken out, well, it's that 20-second meta, 20 seconds. Not 22ND, 20-second meta that people talk about, which is chock full of utility. Kafe is still a good map for Goyo. This one's a bit intriguing.
Look at this.
Navi getting rid of a smoke that is unorthodox, and an operator who is not as well seen as he used to be, given the fact that there's so many plant denial and area denial operators. That is a fascinating one from Navi and very uncommon.
That's the sort of bans I'm looking forward to seeing, because it makes sense, right? This is a map that forces a lot of people to push in through choke points. You ban the smoke, you make it a bit more difficult for you. And Navi is starting on defense. Usually this would obviously hinder you starting off on that side. However, Navi seem to have a plan. This ban is not coming out of nowhere, and it'll allow them to also run the mute constantly. You can go for a play with the Mozzie if you want, but it seems like Kendra is going to stick with a Vigil. Saves probably 6 picking here off to the Qaed, and we'll have Vomai and Jaeger. 2 operators that in combination are extremely frustrating to deal with, and you add the Goyo to it, and definitely makes it, it explains that 20-second metagame. And again, as you said, 20 as a number, second, and then metagame. In this case, won't have that. So interesting thing that Navi isn't doing, what some other teams do. You saw Panics there double reinforce, or I guess it was Doki, double reinforcing the wall from kitchen into the hallway, facing red stairs. So some teams, what they do is actually, instead of double reinforcing that, having it as a singular reinforcement and a rotation hole next to it. So it allows you to contest, support, and also be able to fall back from that, walk-in closet, or the mudroom, if you want to call it, whatever it is, going to be the coat hanger area, and just walk into kitchen. You can fight from there if you want to. It's a rotation that can keep you safe if you so choose to play close up and fight against the lobby.
So we'll start things off now. It's 10 seconds, 15 seconds on in, and the way that things shake up here is, yeah, a pretty good assessment of the way that this map can get played. I'm not surprised to see another team forego bar and cocktail. I will echo the sentiments that a lot of casters now talk about. When it comes to just the way that Kafe has been played as of late, that control that you get by being on that second and the first floor, because you don't have to worry about the attackers just dropping, right on your head in bar cocktail, will give you a little bit of extra time and allow teams that are really practiced at these roams to excel in that regard. First kill is going to come out to Doki. Second kill actually out to Doki. All right, hey there, look at that. That one's not bad at all. He managed to put in great effort, but he gets traded out very quickly by Shockwave.
Man, he's only got 13 kills in all of Pro League in EU. I have to say, it's kind of disappointing, but, with 2 kills in the first round, he's definitely trying his best to put himself higher up in the standings. So, Jaeger eliminated, it's not the end of the world, of course. You lost the Zofia, you lost the Maverick. That's a huge pick-off here for forZe, and they're gonna need to play with one hand tied behind their backs, unfortunately, given this situation. But at least what they'll get is at the halfway point in the round some top floor control, push in from mining, do some work inside of dining maybe, but it's very clear that Navi have control of this, and they can just sit back, hold on to Brown Stairs, hold on to Christmas Tree. You see the Wamai sitting in that position. So overall, map control still in the hands of Navi, and they can just fall back and play out of the kitchen. They don't actually need to stick to the site. So all of the self-destruction, in the end, won't be doing as much as you imagine to do.
The good news is with that soft destruction, though, being in play, it'll allow them to really pin down the remaining members of Navi, the survivors, if you want to call it, who are inside of the site. And some good drone work from Pasha catches a member of Navi, but he gets baited in. He sees one, but he's completely blinded, no peripherals whatsoever, and it saves to punish him playing in Bakery. Diffuser dropped down as well by Prep Kitchen, so tough for Shockwave to be able to recover this. Shockwave's going to push on up. He was very close, Stinello, and saves, but Panics is there to finish him off. Frag grenade gets tossed in by Rask. He's one man against the world. He's got 20 seconds left, and he'll have to hustle down. With all the walls closed and fighting in through choke points, there's almost no way he's going to be able to take this round, and there it is. Saves puts him out of his misery. 2 kills for the Kaid playing inside of Bakery, and Navi, in commanding fashion, will take the very first round.
Unfortunately, it seems like the Buck was running into Bakery, playing at a console field of view there and unable to spot where the Kaid was. In that case, as I said, Navi did not have to play inside of Kitchen. They just pull out of it, actually, and hold those angles, preventing force from even entering the site. It means that your top floor control with the Buck and the Sledge just amounts to nothing. It actually wastes more time than you think it would give you as a positive. So you saw it in action. It was great adaptation from Navi. Whoever was calling through all of this during the round did a great job. And obviously, all of that was enabled thanks to Doki. Getting those first 2 kills, the Maverick and the Zofia, allowed Navi to have so much breathing space around the map and immediately spread out to find the right kills on top of it. And after losing Doki, everybody was just, they knew what they were doing. Navi definitely prepared for this one, even though it was forZe picking this map. No matter what, if you ask me, at least off of this first round, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, it might be where forZe were really forced to go for a map they might not be as prepared for as you would think. But again, it's the first round. It's a bit too early to call that. We'll see how things go as we move on. It's not unusual to have a 4-2 at the half. Sometimes it's 3-3 here on this map here, specifically Kafe. So if Navi stand at a 4-2, it's still possible for forZe to come back, but forZe's attacks are usually the most impressive parts of what they do.
A good attacking team of forZe versus a very defender-sided map, and a team that knows how to play that effectively in Navi. I wonder which one breaks or blinks first. But upstairs to bar and cocktail for round number 2, deciding not to go for that second floor site. So a more direct confrontation that will come out between these teams, not really having to worry about too much clearing from above. forZe might decide to go from second floor up, and there are teams that can pull off a clear from that second floor. Oh no, that's unlucky. And that's a piece of utility that's lost from Rask. His second drone is gone as well, so he's completely blind and out of intel. Unlucky for him, and now he's dead as well. So things go from bad to worse very, very quickly as Nello finds both drones and then the actual kill too to give the opening pick to Navi, and it shakes somebody off of those windows. That little bit of intel that's gone will be problematic for the rest of forZe, as more utility being applied by forZe down below, but it's not finding any targets. Navi are not at the moment in any real danger.
Man, that's a great early kill, kind of given to you with all the utility that was lost as well for forZe during it. And immediately when Navi grab a kill, they're rotating away from the position that they were last in. It makes it so the buck downstairs, who they know he's going to be pressuring them at some point, just has a lot more work to do. And you try to put him in the correct position to get the kill. And that's exactly what forZe is trying to do here, turning away so that his opponents don't know where he's coming from up these white stairs. The moment Nello gives the call, he's going to be going in and finishing off this buck here. And it's all delay tactics. It's using as much utility as possible. You can't allow the buck to find this kill, and indeed, he's just dancing around this. Nello takes a lot of damage, but he's still running away, and finally Pasha for the finisher. You're so delayed. There's one kill. Diffuser's down on the floor. The Legion will run on up, and he's going to be fighting against the buck. Maybe another person on the reverse rappel atop of this white stairs window, but the damage is done. You lost the mute. It's not the end of the world. He's already gotten a kill, and forZe still have not actually cracked the building. They're still kind of outside of it, barring the buck.
This aggressiveness that we see right now onto the Legion, but so much time being committed, and forZe actually wins that fight a bit. Surprising to say the least. Next bit of altercations will come in as it's a panic push from forZe, and they just get fed to the machine that is Navi 2 in a row now, with Doki being a very important part of both of those. However, by no means the most integral part of that second round. Nello really putting in good work, and the anchor play actually of Navi was the greater story in that second round.
Man, that was, I mean, the Bucks spent like a minute plus trying to find the mute. He got him finally, but the mute had already used his nitro to kill his teammate. So the work was already done. The Legion might not have gotten for the kill, but that was so smart. forZe, realizing that he has to deal with one player on the reverse rappel at the white stairs window, went for that kill, confirmed it, and then fell back. He's a Legion. He can win a gunfight if he can place his goo mines in the right position. Even if you're not doing any damage, the visual effect of stepping into a goo mine is more than enough to give you the advantage. And somehow, that extra recoil, but really the rate of fire from the C8 played against the buck, because he fired so much that the Legion was just running away in that time. Not enough time to switch out to his skeleton key. Even if he had any shots left, that's the big problem, because all of them were used to pressure from reading. Navi lulled forZe into a false sense of security that whole round. And every time forZe felt that they were comfortable, Navi just very swiftly struck and then fell back. They don't overextend. They don't get out too aggressively. This is Navi that have fixed a lot of the problems that we saw them having earlier on in the season, and it's very impressive to see. But it's a reading defense, so you still have to put players at the top floor. Look at forZe. They can't even push out because they're expecting somebody spawn picking them. You're putting fear in the hearts of forZe. You're wasting time. That's great play. This is the psychological effect of Doki's play so far.
A true giant when it comes to this game. No, I think you're right. Navi has been stifling on this defense thus far, and Navi, you know, they haven't given forZe a single inch. forZe don't have that same swagger to be able to entry. The one thing that I really like about this edition of Amizian is that it's allowed some of the more aggressive players, mainly Pasha and Rask, the two most aggressive players on forZe, and typically the two best fraggers as well, to be able to enter with much greater moxie, and they can take engagements now, whether it's just comms being improved, whether it's just, you know, a better attitude. I'm not exactly sure what he added, Amizian added to this team over, you know, over what Kama brought to the squad, but I think it's very much indisputable how improved forZe is with his presence. The issue now is that Navi are being as equally aggressive, which is what we've seen before. This is what was one of their trademarks in that Tokonami run of theirs, and in the latter half of the previous season of Pro League, was that, well, you just get really aggressive and you take all of these gunfights. Navi have not given a single inch to forZe, and you can really see it here now as well with half of the round burned, and all of forZe is still caught inside a piano. They haven't been able to get out yet.
Oh, again, the Jaeger is just holding on to these white stairs. It's so difficult to clear him, and he's just going to keep falling back. There's ADSs, and there's Magnus to help. A shot there from Shockwave will find Kendra, but Nello with the refrag. Nitrocell onto Emigian, and that's him done and dusted. You lost the Goyo with him, one Nitrocell probably, but he already has all of those shields up, and this at least those breaching charges that are being used will force Panics back, and immediately Navi are doubling up, and Saves is ready for a flank. He spots a drone and knows that this is not the time to overextend, and he sticks his position. forZe at the 40-second mark have control of the top floor here, but there's still shields that block their line of sight. There's still always potential of their opponents holding on to the key power positions downstairs and by pillars.
There's a kill for Rask, so Navi will finally trail in terms of operator count. They haven't thus far. Waiting very patiently, as there's not a ton of time for forZe to really do much with. One for the Legion, but he gets caught from the side by the Ashe, who just barges on in. Gun down on white stairs. This is a trade back and forth, but both teams are currently equal. Another kill for Navi, and with the plant going down, it's Doki from above. Nello's there to possibly capitalize, but the time will be the real victor for Navi as they get 3 in a row, and they complete that cycle. On defense, they are perfect on every site that they have had to play through this rotation. They look mighty fine and are 1 round away from claiming their first half, at least in terms of round count.
I know the joke is that Navi can't actually give many inches to anybody. Haha, short joke. But in this case, man, they're really not giving forZe anything to work with. forZe wasted a solid 15 seconds early in the round just checking for spawn peaks. They sat there, 4 of them, just waiting for something to happen. Nothing came out of Navi. Navi are playing psychological warfare against the Russians here, and it's all working like a charm. You lost the Goyo, you lost the Nitrocell with him. That was a big loss. But Navi made sure that they wasted a ton of time and utility on that top floor in the minibar before they dropped down and played on the site. And even with a man advantage, forZe could not push down and go for a plant because there was always the fear of Saves going for the flank, playing as the Legion. It's very smart, very intelligent to know when to run back, and Navi, again, are going to completely reinforce kitchen here and not leave a single avenue of rotation. You see 2 at the front here at the prep kitchen, 2 at the front the bakery, 1 into that hallway. They're putting new jammers down as well. You're probably going to be seeing ADSs around, a similar strategy to what we saw from the team before, but they're running the Maestro this time. And I wonder who they're going to set by that long desk or long bar downstairs, if anyone. And they're still checking for those spawn peaks. There's none left. There it is. Nothing is being prepared, and forZe just need to calm down and play their own game in this case.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's Navi right now that's controlling the pace and tempo of this game, as we do tend to see a lot of teams do on defense. It's the hallmark of a great team to be able to set that tone when you are on attack, especially on a map that is as lopsided when it comes to attacker-defender percentages as we see right now. So forZe will once again try to entry from above. Unsurprising, it's a kitchen defense. So we talked about the cycle. There's a 3-map cycle, and right now it shouldn't shock anybody that Navi is not going to mining or dining hall. Very few teams really do play that bomb site. So back downstairs to kitchen. A lot of this came on the roam from Doki in that very first round. He's got 4 kills for his liking, and there's another. He catches a blind spot and exploits it as Rask is prone inside a piano. Nobody watching that flank. Doki on the hunt. There's a silhouette over by Reading, but he's going to have to be very wary of white stairs. There he goes, takes out Shockwave. Somebody is exposed on top of white stairs. He takes the drone out and manages to get out of there as quickly as he can, and it's alerted WTG to his presence. These opening picks for Navi are absolutely huge, and without the drone, they're going to fight in a contest against Doki yet again, as he holds 2 angles by himself. If he gets the call, he can possibly punish the Zofia and pick up a 3rd kill for his trouble.
Zofia is going to be walking down, but he knows there's one player still around the corner, and that's the Asha Pasha trying to walk into Reading. The Zofia has already gone away, and Doki knows his opponents have every single idea of where he is. They just need to confirm his exact position. One flashbang will go in, and there's the pre-fire from the Jaeger, and the Ash will catch him. So very well done there from Pasha, but you lost 2 players. You had no time to prepare this top floor, and how are you going to be breaching inside? Everything's reinforced. Navi are playing the, the unranked, the casual style of inside of kitchen, which is let's just reinforce everything, barrel down the hatches, and play inside. Impact grenade will come on the side here as the breach charge will come out from WTG. No second impact, but it's wasting time, very precious time here for forZe. There are 33 seconds left, and they just now have opened the hatch to drop into freezer. And because of the reinforcements, this might actually play against them. You can see there the double reinforcements that the Wamai is looking at. It's going to be rotating around as a nitro cell will be thrown. Maestro's on the floor. WTG will find panics in the meantime. So that's one angle that's been cleared, but you have to go and actually breach into site for the plant. Saves with 1 kill, but Amizian will get another. Kendrew flicking for 1, and he knows the Zofia is going to be pushing in at any point, and the Maestro, unlimited ammunition, it seems, is going to keep firing in with the Alda, and he'll find that final kill. There you go. It's an eventuality. Navi just corner forZe, and there's just no answer to be found at 4-0 for Navi. A great start on defense.
You know, the big issue there for forZe was that they just couldn't outsmart Bullet. That's it. That's really what it boiled down to there with the Maestro, who played so patiently. And, he was relying on calls from the Kaid that was playing by the double door looking into freezer. Kendrew was just laying prone. He had not been droned out at all. There were mute jammers inside of freezer, so it stands to reason that nobody was bothering to throw a drone down there. And even after they got picked off by forZe, you only had 20 seconds left. Nobody's going back onto drone with so little time to try and figure out where people are playing. That was a very interesting angle and play from Kendrew. A lot of people would call that a rat play because he's just sitting there waiting. In the moment that the Kaid went down, and that you've got at least somebody, one person, maybe 2 inside a freezer, you can pop up, and as you said, unlimited ammunition on that. I did like what we saw out of forZe, though, and while it didn't come any closer than that first round, they made enough of a change up that I think it really could have played out a little bit differently. Number 1, they brought a Hibana instead of a Maverick. When you're attacking kitchen, Maverick is fine and dandy if you're going to possibly go for one of the front walls or maybe even the back wall, but I think a lot of people would suggest that on a map like Kafe, Thermite and Hibana are far better at doing that same job, especially if you want to get the hatches above. And yeah, Maverick wouldn't have been at the mercy of the impact grenade that blew up the X-Kairos. We saw that. There was a little bit of the floor shot out inside of that dining room, and then there was an impact grenade that was thrown at the wall. It blew up the X-Kairos. At that point, it doesn't really matter that you're losing them because Amizian isn't going to use all 3 bursts on one hatch or a wall. He's going to want them for hatch control, and then it's going to be a drop from the rest of the attackers into freezer, a dead drop, as you might want to call it. It's so challenging when you get that off to then actually take control of the site, because if everybody is dropping freezer, you have to engage on territory, which the defenders are very well set up for and are expecting you to play from that position. Exactly. That's why you saw Saves the way he was. That's why you saw Kendrew the way he was. They wanted forZe to take freezer. There was nobody that went through bakery, and by the time the play came from double doors, it was way too late. Opening pick, though, yet again, it's going to be Navi. They're perfect so far when it comes on these opening duels, and Pasha is gone. That's one of the best pieces of forZe's lineup, now removed.
I mean, they were planning on putting the Ash on the rappel, but Pasha was afraid that there might be a push into him, and unfortunately, he got taken out there, and now he can't pressure into that Christmas lounge. So what do you do? You're kind of banking on that Hibana, but you still have the Clot to deal with. You have that mute. Suddenly, the Thatcher ban makes a ton of sense, and we've yet to see that smoke ban really come into effect. We'll see what Navi has planned on the other side when they're on the attack, but their saves dropping down. He can now rotate and play at the top of red stairs if he wants to, and we've seen how Navi been so good and so efficient at knowing when to be aggressive and when to kind of fall back, go for small picks, go for a drone or 2. And that's usually giving them a big advantage. They're blinding forZe. Look at the drones lost now. 3 that have been lost, and then 5 others are deployed. If you destroy those, forZe will be choked for information. And when there's so many reinforcements that Navi put up, you're not going to be able to grab much without being shot in the face. But I say that Mission and the Shockwave are going to find a kill each. And taking down Nello and Saves are big picks. That's one flank down. And you're going to have to forfeit this white hallway, at least for a second. Can't play at the bottom of the stairs.
I wonder if they'll be able to shake off that electric claw that's been put onto the freezer wall that leads into Piano. Because if not, then you're going to have to go through one doorway or fight around the pillar. Instead, Rask is just going to tear up the entire wall from Cigar and look towards the bar. A little bit of coverage for Kendra is also gone as the X-Kairos will blow up above him. 20 seconds left for Navi to be able to figure this one out. And because they have an advantage of one, they can keep somebody up on that skylight. And it's going to be Shockwave, who's going to be in such a good spot. He spots the end of the gun for the Maestro. Diffuser going down from a mission, but Doki is there. He just goes on in, exploiting the weakness that's been established. 3 kills from Navi, and the last one left is Shockwave, who has to drop, but he's caught in a crossbar. How did things go so badly for forZe so quickly? Nobody on that team was looking for the crosses that were established. That is such a rough spot to be in, and very much should have been a forZe round, but Navi manages to just somehow come out of that. They come out swinging, and every single blow connects. Navi's now up 5-0, and they're making very quick work of forZe here on Kafe.
Man, the fact that the Maestro didn't run away, and he just did not run away. He stuck his position, and the Habana just thought, you know what? I think it's clear. He probably ran somewhere else. So what did Shockwave do? He took a tight angle to watch anybody coming out of freezer and really playing on the other side of the wall, and basically the angle that walks you through into the white hallway through the cocktail bar. And there's nobody rotating from there. They thought the Maestro had run away to that position or somewhere else onto heaven. Not the case at all. He stuck his position. He fought it, and Doki found the perfect moment to peek out as they heard that diffuser being set. All information that was given by the Qaid, who was sticking right next to that reinforced wall into freezer from the lounge. Everything was so perfectly done there by Navi. And once you had lost that planter, you have to commit to the gunfights. And Navi were just hiding that entire time. The bar being completely destroyed gave Navi the angles that they needed to fight their opponents walking in, trying to recover that diffuser. And Shockwave couldn't do anything in the meantime because everything was happening so quickly. You're not going to be able to take out 4 players just flicking one angle to the other because they're all peeking and then running back into a safe position inside a freezer. It's so well done from Navi. Beautiful coordination, beautiful teamwork. This is a Navi that won Pro League. You can see it finally in the squad. I'm so excited seeing this sort of thing. forZe are usually an immensely dominant team, no matter who they play against, or having such a hard time finding an opener. Doki is filling the right gap that Navi really needed, and you can tell there's been a lot of practice here to get him up to snuff, up in shape with the rest of the squad so they can all be playing well together, Citizen or not.
So this is a confounding situation for forZe, and you know, they've really struggled to adapt to what Navi is bringing. You know, I agree that Shockwave had the opportunity to see Navi push out of the back storage room, and he didn't catch it. He was too busy preoccupied with, I don't even know what angle, to be honest, Shockwave was looking at, but you should be able to watch those 2 panels as Doki emerged and was very easy to be spotted by the IQ playing on that skylight. I think Shockwave was a little bit too focused on where Kendra was playing as the Maestro, but you've got him pinned down. I mean, that's hard target prioritization to call. Regardless, we now turn our sights to the very final defense from Navi as they're looking to go up 6-0. This has been quite a drubbing for forZe, and they will need to do their best on the defender side of Kafe, so they've obviously got a fighting chance. But you need to salvage this round if you're the Russian team, because you are running out of time to be able to keep this one close. Both these teams entered tied in the standings, so if you can pick up a round here, it prevents Navi from getting a single point. That would be an unfortunate situation for forZe, knowing that after the first half, they are incapable of winning.
So there's the IQ trying to pressure in. Usually you're vaulting on top of the bar to try and take down whoever's playing right behind the reinforcements there. You see the Habana opening up the walls. I assume that's Panic's on the Wamai. He's taking a bit of damage, and with this crossfire, no, the impact! Perfectly set from the defense. They're going to slow things down and make sure that Panic survives a bit longer. Their spot shot rounding the corner into the bar. Another one from WTG connects. The Maestro will give out information, but it's too late. The top floor will be forfeit for 2 players. It's a huge pickoff here for forZe. They've lost none in the meantime, as Rask will take a lot of damage. Pressuring now onto the Maestro is WTG, and it'll win out the gunfight. 2k for him here, leaving Doki and Nello alive. As Nello falls, it's Doki. A tall task ahead of him here, and he'll beat the Ashen one, and he still has 4 more to go. Another angle being held, and he's firing down to the floors. Rask has been down. Look at the Maestro camera that was placed. It cannot give you any information. Emission is going to go for the plant, and you can go for the finisher here on Rask, but what effect will it have? None. You're going for the 2k. You need to ace this to bring it back. And inside of reading, oh no, he's in the hallway. You don't see the angle of him. Doki separating here. He's not going to be able to find the kill. Shockwave for the G8. Rattles down, and that's him dead in reading, but man, too little too late. It's a 5-1 at the half.
Well, when you fly that close to the sun, as we tend to see Navi do on those plays, forZe as well, then you run the likelihood of getting burned. And in that case, the roam that we saw established from Navi just does not work out. They lose a couple pretty key gunfights. They don't look as coordinated as previous rounds. Maybe just a little bit of missteps, and that small bit of sloppiness is enough to give forZe an opening. And an opening of 2 picks is pretty huge, especially when it's reading. Once you lose control of that top floor, it becomes an extraordinary challenge for defenders to be able to hang on, because most of the remaining players on that team are sitting inside of the actual site, and the site is going to get taken apart piece by piece. You've got a Sledge, you've likely got a Buck, you've got a Zofia. Those are 3 operators that are very common when attacking here, and it allows you to tear open the entire safety net that's been established for the defenders, which is the roof above you. You have control of Cocktail, which is over where the A bomb site sits right now on your screen. Right underneath that is the bomb site and reading room. And then you've also got the rotate that can be held from that angle over towards dining. And then you can just post somebody up on white stairs, or even somebody down into engine/wheel room down below, which is on the other side of the map, on the west side of the map. And, well, you find it to be extraordinarily challenging for a defender to be able to just simply hang on. You are trying to wait out the clock, and you're going to have to rely an awful lot on shots through the openings that have been created either by yourself or by the opposing team. So once those 2 early members fell for Navi, they essentially had nothing but to wait out the clock and hope that they could win a couple more gunfights, which they'd already lost earlier. It's a good entry from forZe that came in the right time, able to try and stop this momentum that Navi has built up. And now forZe will have the added benefit of going to defense as well. So not terrible timing for them.
So that Monty, I mean, it makes sense now bringing the Monty because you're banning the smoke. It all comes into play. forZe are not a team that consistently run Elysian. So I understand that line of reasoning, that line of thought from Navi. You're hearing the SMG-11s firing off as Doki will take a tiny bit of damage there, but the Zofia is trying to pressure at the top of white stairs. And right now, we're just going to be falling back and setting up. The rest of Navi are all huddled together here, singing Kumbaya, and I'm not sure when they'll be actually coming down onto site. Iskender is the only Heartbreaker that you have. It can definitely help you dropping into that cigar lounge if you want to. The castle barricade actually can play in the favor of the attackers if you do it correctly. But you're going to need to push in from a couple of different angles and make sure that those hatches, we'll call them U-hatch, for example, actually gives you the advantages you need. And this is great here from the Zofia. It will turn the attention of the defenders away from the main push, and you can hear the Monty already setting up a shield.
You get to see this at play. We've seen it in Europe a number of times. It used to be done by the old Navi squad, which was the Orglis/Mocket team, the German team that would often ban smoke when playing on Oregon and then take full advantage of that. Now, they didn't always bring a Montaigne, and I mean, you can. It doesn't really matter whether you want to or not, but there's a nice cross that's being established, and the IQ of Doki is waiting. There goes the C4. Damage done to Nello as 2 separate people pop up. Doki heads on in, does exactly as he needs to, but he's very wary of a push from the other side of the pillars. Unfortunately for Doki, it's not great comms, and WTG is there to get the kill, but traded off by the Montaigne. So still the advantage sticks for Navi, who'd gotten that opening pick. They've gotten all but 1 so far in this matchup. Their greater challenge is this clock, 45 seconds left for them to be able to pull this off. They have still some utility in that Montaigne will persist at 75 HP. The only thing that could possibly stop the Montaigne is the fact that you've got an Echo on the board. he will have the castle with a super shorty, but not really able to do too much against the shield operator. This Monty will continue to take up space. If he looks to the right towards the bathroom, he'll see the castle, as that'll leave Shockwave in an unideal position. A little bit of damage done to Amizian, and it's a split push now as Navi are 1 kill away. The Echo in the corner, and there it is. Finished off by the Maverick. Kendra doing everything himself in the very final moments of that round, allowing the rest of the team to get the space and take control of the site. That's going to be match point for Navi and a big 1 point as they make very quick work of forZe through this game.
Honestly, I was going to say losing the IQ is definitely not a great trade. You should have had another operator pushing there alongside the Monty. The Mute knew what's up. He knew that there was somebody doubling down. So in general, it was a good pickoff. Unfortunately for the defense, even though they had the Echo, they couldn't really do anything to combine those yokai drones with the Monty. And you saw, because there was that castle barricade that's played Cigar, which is the classic play nowadays with the castle, it actually prevented the defenders from using the fact that they have double reinforcements into red stairs from actually peeking out and fighting through into Cigar. It was so well read by Navi, and they used it and abused it so very well. The Monty was safe once he actually got inside a Cigar, and you got the clear. You already got 1 kill and a trade. You had your advantage in, and the Zofia finding the Jaeger on rotation is huge. Zofia, you would never expect an operator like that just playing at the bottom of the pillars, yet in this case, she was. It's surprising, to say the least, and it definitely caught the Jaeger off and surprised as he tried to rotate away from Bar and back into Heaven. But that was the catch that opened it up and allowed Zofia to walk on outside and then barrel in through the window into Heaven, fight through the last defender sitting on site. The Monty pushed into Freezer, did the work. It was so very well done. There you see, though, I was talking about the rotation hole that defenders sometimes will have, the prep kitchen through into that walk-in closet, and there it is. It allows you to fight people coming into it all the way down into lobby, or as a rotation hole, a last-ditch effort for the defenders to walk back in. Navi are not afraid of any runouts, anything in the early game, and Nello running the Monty again for Navi.
So this is do or die for now, who've been on this miracle run, and hey, they get the very first pick. That's good fortune for them on this defense. Another for Rask as well. It cannot be shaken off of Bakery. He's the rotate there. Nello's pushed up, and now he's going to rely an awful lot on Kendra. The calls will need to be precise when it comes to pinning down this Jaeger. Saves is still in the same position, playing the bullet hole. This is a very, very cheeky spot to be in, and I don't know if we've seen that played before in Pro League, at least not from the vantage point of a spectator, at least. The greater issue is that with a Monty, you essentially put Kendrew and Saves in a 2v5 situation. Even though the Monty, of course, is going to be able to do some damage, you're going to only have 2 active guns on the board. And Saves is nowhere close to being able to support. He's off-site right now, trying to tie up the remaining members of forZe that might not be focused on the Monty push. Nello can give calls as best as he wants, but they know that the Jaeger is playing inside a Bakery. They're attempting to draw out and lure him into a position where Kendrew is primed and ready to greet him at gunpoint.
Zofia trying to watch here. There's a goo mine, one of them being thrown at the center of the lobby. But you know the WTG is sitting all on his own. Another goo mine being thrown just despite Saves for a second more. You know there's a player right around here in the walk-in closet, and through the reception you go. At some point you're going to hear Pasha firing out, but the Monty's going into gunfight, and Nello, he's going to hit the shot and take down Rask. And Shockwave in the meantime is dropped on the floor. Suddenly, Parker, at 50 seconds, Navi have some sort of an advantage, but as I say that, WTG hits the Nitro on Saves. They were trying to find the Goyo for so long, but comes back to bite them. Just one around the corner, a quick flick from Kendrew, but Nello has already used his smoke. You can go for a plant right now, but it's wiser to just walk back. There it is. There's Nitro Cella being prepped as well, fired into the Monty. He's down on the floor, and there's 3 left as they all come around the corner into Bakery. Pasha will find the last kill, and you know, forZe, it was so close them to lose this round, but good play there.
Would you believe it if I said that the default cam inside of Bakery was up for the entire game?
Was it?
They did not shoot it at all. The final 5 seconds left, the default cam was still up behind the Maverick of Kendrew. Right. That is a massive mistake. And it was being used to give calls for forZe. It doesn't matter if they've got any intel operators. If you've left a default cam up, that is just sloppiness to the nth degree. And Navi are a better team than that. It allows forZe to be able to read the situation. They know when the Monty's pushing in. They know when they lose visibility on him in prep. They know when the Maverick rotates out of prep. They know when the Maverick is holding the rotate that is into the front of Kitchen. That is just such a stupid mistake for Navi to make. And that's exactly why you saw that rotate from the Mozzie come in. Pasha is able to just get to the other side of the map and take out the Maverick and have the Monty caught from behind as well. If the Mozzie, if the Monty hadn't died to that C4 or been downed at least, then the Mozzie was going to be able to walk away with the 2 pegs, all because of the information that Navi did not take away from forZe. Yeah, it's very likely that forZe likely still would have had somebody rotate over towards Bakery. Sure, that's a very common play, especially when you've got a numbers advantage. You can send somebody on a flank, and you're assuming that the 2 people on Navi aren't going to be looking for the 3rd person on forZe who's trying to come in and pinch you. Fair. But forZe didn't need to guess. They had that information because the cam was up. That is certainty that they could play off of, and that was absolutely huge.
Yeah, I didn't notice it, and this is why, having 2 people casting, at some point we're going to be able to find all of this, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, but reviewing these games, sometimes slowing things down, it gives you the opportunity to find these tiny discrepancies. And yeah, you're completely right. Having that default cam up in Bakery is huge. It gave you info on every single maneuver and movement that Navi were doing, and maybe if that wasn't the case, the round would have been different. Who knows? Hindsight, always 2020. There's Doki pressuring a bit here on the west side rappel, but rest of Navi are just going up, taking control of the rooftops. It's taking around 40 seconds there, but the hatches and such are all open. Goo mines are being destroyed, and of course with the Monty in, I see that we're going to have a similar strategy we had before. Mission is actually going to go for the castle again, and I'm not sure if the setup inside of Cigar is the same as we had a couple rounds back, because that was something that was very well exploited by Navi.
This is still going to be do or die till the end for forZe, and they obviously know that they can't have any room for error, especially with this Monty on the board. The question is going to be, are they going to be able to contain it? What a shot by Doki, as he's managed to down WTG, and the Montaigne will see if somebody can get to his rescue. I don't know if Doki is aware of this. He's not particularly keen. And no, I don't think he is aware of it at all. Nello calls it out that the mute is down, and Doki, collect your kill. There you go, 12 for you. What a second matchup now after a strong return. The entry from Navi is going very effectively, but they lose Doki. I'm not sure to exactly where. Inside of Cigar/Piano, Navi is able to establish themselves, and this front that they've got is all over towards the red part of this building, the western front, if you want to call it that. They are currently being thwarted by a default cam, or rather a bulletproof cam, and there it goes. All this line of sight that's been opened up as well will give so much advantage to saves.
The Legion isn't able to actually do anything there. You saw so many goo mines that have been thrown out, and the problem is that smoke ban is affecting forZe so much. I talked about it before, I'll continue to talk about it now. You just have no information of this grenade, that's for sure, but the Monty is enabled because of the fact that there's no smoke, something that forZe would love to rely on here. Rask is taking so much damage, a bit even before, from Doki, as he was just firing through the humidor, as you would call it, as the technical term is. We're gonna go for the plant here. Nello on the side is rushing inside of heaven. What's the Yokai is doing in the meantime? Not much. Panic's gonna be able to find one kill. The Echo is just holding on to his Yokai as this Kendruin saves. Will find the last 2. Doesn't even need to set that plant down. And it's Navi victorious. Man, fighting the rounds that are needed. 3 points at top of the day, 7-2. And man, Doki, number 1 on the squad. Yet again, second play day, back on the team.
I know there were a lot of people who had some very accurate reservations about Doki coming in regards to whether he would have, shown any ring rust from being out for, 6 months or give or take, depending on how long he was actually out for. And I think this answers the question. No, he was able to come right back in. He hit the ground running, and he's proved his worth to this team, especially after the uncertainty that Navi was thrown into, given the fact that they lost Citizen and Pi. picking up Blur, a lot of people were very confused by that because they didn't know who he was. I think he far exceeded expectations from the average person who didn't know that he was pulled from the tier 3 scene. And then Panics obviously is a very known quantity. But the real story of that match, as good as Doki was, he was able to make space for his teammates. He was being droned in and being able to capitalize off of that on attack. On defense, he made a lot of plays on his own. It didn't look like they were being helped by calls, but his play on defense was what really stood out. And he was able to cripple most of the pushes from forZe within the first 30 seconds or so. It doesn't really matter who you are or what role you're playing. If you can that consistently put your opponents at a disadvantage, especially a team like forZe, who we've talked about at length, are so good on attack. If you can consistently knock them on their heels, not only is it psychological, but it's standard arithmetic. If you're constantly at a 4v5, it doesn't matter how good you are, your opponents are equally matched. You're going to find it to be really tough to be able to pull off a 4v5 successfully on a map when you're an attacker and the defenders have such an advantage.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And Navi always played their hand in every single round. When they had an advantage, they played it, and they played those Doki peaks in the first 2 rounds, and then never again. They didn't need to. They already put that damage onto their opponents. They knew that if they were able to gather enough rounds on their defensive half, then historically speaking, it might be where forZe will struggle a bit more on their defense. That smoke ban, in my opinion, is 100% able to enable the Monty play. And I'm definitely going to be asking just to verify, but here we are, ready for our interview. Let's have a quick chat with Doki.
Hello.
Good evening, Jack. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, pretty fine, man. I have to say, a matchup again that was played very well by you and the squad. You played excellently alongside everybody on the team. I want to start off with our operator bans because for me, I felt that there was one operator ban that was very specific. That's smoke being removed as you started on the defense. Many would look at it and say, are Navi trying to gimp themselves? But for me, it didn't feel like you even planned to play him at any point, and it was just to enable the Monty. What's your thoughts on it? What's the mindset behind it?
Yeah, so I mean, enabling the Monty, sure. We knew we wanted to play Monty most rounds. We have a few capable players who can play Monty on our team. So, yep, the smoke is great for that. But we also kind of looked at the forZe defense, and we see that they play a lot of smoke and can that clutch factor operators. We expected them to ban Goyo, to be honest, because we know they don't like that. So we just said, let's take away their smoke. And when they didn't ban the Goyo, we just abused it, I guess you could say. So it seemed to work out on the defense.
So on your defense, you and the rest of the team, but more specifically yourself, in the first 2 rounds, were going for these spawn peaks. You know that a team like forZe is very effective usually on their attacking side as opposed to their defense, at least in comparison to their defense. Was this a form of psychological warfare that you were preparing, kind of put their mentality down before falling back, or what's the mindset behind it?
I mean, listen, Milos, I've been playing ranked for 6 months, you know what I mean? I gotta still do it in comp a little.
Yeah.
I wanted to peek the windows. And yeah, it is that kind of psychological warfare. It's getting in their heads, always need to watch a window. This guy might peek it, etc. So yeah, you're right. It's better both.
Yeah, it's sort of the the mindset of I have the reaction to do. I really have that itch that I really want to do it, but it also has the added benefit of kind of putting them on their edge. But yeah, I really like the strategy regardless. Now, there was one round where your team really faltered. It was on the attacking side, and you were attacking through bakery into kitchen. You lost 2 players very early on, and you try to recover. I don't know if you saw this, but Parker pointed it out very much during the cast that the bakery default cam was still set in place until the last second of the round, pretty much. What happened in that round on the attack for you that broke down, and how did you try to recover it and lost in the end?
Okay, so that's actually my fault. I take full responsibility for this. I called in the last round. I said, boys, we're 6-1 up. You know, we have a lot of rounds to play with here to get this win. Can we just rush bakery super quick? They might not be ready for it. They might be roaming above. I don't know. So I called it. It didn't work. I mean, it could have worked, but it didn't work. So yeah, that's my fault. I just said rush. So
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. It's credit where credit's due, though. The rest of the team played very well. I have to say, it was very impressive to see how you guys, especially on the defense, were always so proficient at knowing when to push forward and find a kill, and when to just be happy with a couple of drones picked off and fall back. How do you play into that?
Yeah.
How do you get that information? Because it's so difficult for many people I know that are just watching and trying to learn from the professional players to have that game sense that helps you out in these moments.
So I don't know how much you've seen of what I was doing upstairs, especially in maybe the first 3 or 4 rounds of the match. But I was just trying to hide top floor as much as I could and get away with it. I got away with it for 2 rounds in a row. I got like 5 kills in total, I think, from just hiding above. So if I did that in the first 3 rounds, they're gonna maybe check for that every other round and slow down their whole push. So after that, like 3rd round of me hiding above, I tried to fall back a bit towards the white stairs area instead of playing so aggressive in piano. And that's when you seen me shooting the drones and running back. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just trying some things and it seemed to work. So yeah, just a bit of both, bit of game sense, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like playing ranked for 6 months really prepares you for the worst, and it really imbues that sort of like sneaky plays into you. So definitely playing well for you there, Doki. Anything though you'd like to say at the end of this interview to all the fans out there as Navi are still in the running? You guys can crack the top 2 yet again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the plan. Again, to all our supporters, I know we may have started off this season sloppy, and ever since winning Japan, some could argue that we have been on a kind of bad performance. But I'm here to assure you that we are back in full force. So thank you for sticking with us, and we are going to make sure we can return the favor in the coming months, in weeks and months. So yeah, and again, thank you to our great organization for just providing us with everything we need, especially through these hard times. And yeah, just thanks everybody and stay safe.
All right, well, stay safe yourself, Doki. Enjoy. We'll see you for the last play day on Monday. It's going to be huge. We can't wait to see Navi play one more time in this season before it's over. Good night. Bye-bye.
See you later. Good night.